Vacation, Laurie
Got it. We're being recorded. We're both on the road.
Yep. No Kyle. He's got to have some sort of family event because it's December.
Well, we never schedule these podcasts. We for 5 years, we've been remembering on Friday that we have to do one by Monday. It's always.
Oh my God. That is so true.
It's a bad way
it's
to
funny
do it.
because it's true. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina with Maria Bamford.
Cool.
You're in Fort Collins, right?
Yeah,
Colorado.
I am. Mm-hmm. You look like you're in a hotel.
Yes, you look kind of like you're in a hotel. Are you?
No, I'm in a condo. Here's the thing with condos is, as a female comic, I never feel safe. And I don't care how safe a male comic feels. I don't feel safe. So anytime I'm in a condo, I have to spend a half hour every night booby trapping, putting chairs up, making little noisemakers that will alert me when someone breaks into the condo. That's just how I've been since I've started on the road. And so even if it's a nice condo, it still stresses me out because it doesn't feel as safe, because I know the neighbors know there's a new person in here every week. And, it never feels as safe as a hotel. And that's just, it's condos across the board. I don't care how deluxe they are.
Right. Well, let me tell you about, and this will just infuriate you because it's the Comedy Works condo. The Comedy Works has a condo. It is a doorman building.
Nice.
I feel entirely safe when I am at it. Is the only condo I'll do, just because I do feel safe. And I believe they have professionals cleaning it, making sure that there's toilet paper and towels and the sheets are changed and all the surfaces are wiped down and the cupboards are empty. And, the only thing in the condo to eat and drink, because you remember the guy who ruined all leaving food for everybody?
Yes, John Fox.
John Fox.
Wait, was it John Fox? Or
I think it was.
No, yeah, it was John. I was thinking it was John or Denny Johnston, but it wasn't Denny. It was John Fox.
I'm sure Denny Johnston added to it.
Maybe newer comics, you started later. You don't have these war stories in your head, but
don't use the
there
mayonnaise.
were male comics who would jerk off into the condiments that were in the refrigerator, and then for their fellow male comics to spread as a joke, right?
Right.
And
the hilarity.
So to me, that's infected my entire brain when it comes to anything in a condo. I'm like, who's jerked off on this? Like, I'm sure this happens in hotels too, but at least
you don't have to look at the calendar. Yeah. And you don't look at the calendar and Big J Okerson jerked off in this bed last week. And I'm like, I don't need to know that.
Exactly. Oh my God. But yeah, I guess whatever, it's way cheaper than a hotel sometimes. And I don't know. I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you what me as a female comic does when I'm in a condo and how it sort of changes my behavior.
Yeah. And how it might affect the shows. So
it doesn't affect my show. Believe me. I'm giving it my all and I'm having fun. Their club's great.
The club is great.
The shows are really fun. We had 2 last night. We had a 7 and a 9:30, and the 7 was almost sold out. The 9:30 was pretty full. So it's like the town supports the comedy, and I ran out of books after the first show, so I didn't bring enough. I have some more here, and I think I'll be able to sell them. This is a good merch club.
Oh, good, awesome.
Yeah. So every little store on the street with the club on it sells little tchotchkes for white women. It's all like a hen, why would I have a hen in my house? Like a ceramic hen? It's all that shit. So these people love to buy shit. So if you're coming to this club, bring your merch for sure.
Okay. I'm selling merch because Maria isn't. And because of that, I'm selling a lot of merch. And because all of her audience wants to buy stuff and she doesn't have any stuff. So last night, second show, I forgot to bring the merch up. And I said, I didn't even do a couple of these jokes. Still going to be selling it right over there. Help yourself.
So
Sold.
it makes no sense. These people don't know why they're buying spooky
No, and
reading
it's not
girl.
like they can listen to them on Spotify.
Oh my God, they're shut out. They don't get the joke they're buying. Well, what do you need to know to buy a ceramic hen? Not really anything. You can just enjoy it until your children have to throw it away after you die.
Right. What if it were only a hen tea cozy? I do like a teapot cozy shaped as a chicken. I don't mind that. But then I think I was born an old lady, so whatever.
One of my ex-boyfriends, his sister-in-law was really into cows and just had cow everything. And I'm like, I could see deciding early on in life, I'm all in on cows. And then everyone knows what to get you for Christmas, your birthday, it's so covered and you will always be happy. I wish I was that kind of person.
Well, I think that what happens is you thought if somebody finds something cute or they like it and they're like, oh, they like frogs. Oh, they like elephants. They like unicorns. And then you have every flat surface in your house is some banana head giving you a frog or a unicorn.
Well, you've done it to yourself though.
But to some extent, you've done it to yourself because you bought more than one. And then people saw it and they're like, oh my gosh, she really likes whatever. Maria used to try to buy me romance novels. She'd go to a Walgreens and she's like, this one looks
Walgreens.
Because the romance novels, there's always a romance novel. But I like a very specific, you can't buy other people's porn. And so I like a very specific kind of romance novel. And they are not always, and just because it's, a guy without a shirt on and some woman with half a dress on, that doesn't mean that it's going to be the story of a duke falling in love with his secretary in the 1800s. We don't know. We don't know that that's going to be what's going to happen. And
did dukes have secretaries in the 1800s?
No.
Okay.
When
so it's time travel.
Historical romance. The history is not always. But I keep hearing more and more stories. You know how like history is whitewashed, right? Yeah. And also male washed. People they go back in their family trees and they find out like their great grandmother was a doctor in the late 1800s, and you're like, how did she become a doctor? And they're like, well, she insisted on going to university. How come we've never heard of her? Well, because they didn't want to tell anybody that this was an option. So, she got buried in the annals of history, and then finally the stories come up,
Are your great-great-grandparents doctors?
Not
you didn't realize?
Me. I just keep hearing stories of other people who have done stories of they've looked into like ancestry.com, and they find out like their old lady ancestors were actually badasses and really smart and had these amazing lives.
My great grandmother was like one of the first female principals of some kind of I think a Chicago public school.
Oh yeah.
But she was also the woman that she bought a picture holder, like a frame, but it was reversible. So you could put one picture on the front and one on the back. And she would only face my mom's brother's picture forward, and my mom always faced the wall. And she would tell my mom, "Oh, it's Tommy's week." like she would pretend that she flipped it every week, but she actually, we think, didn't like girls, which explains my mom a lot to me.
Yeah, that'll explain sort of. Yeah.
She was I think a self-hating lady. You know what?
Yep.
Hold on. Amy Miller is taking my son to a party, and I have to text her the address. Just a sec.
Well, let me talk amongst myself.
Yes.
I have this to say about Raleigh, North Carolina, and Goodnights, is that Goodnights is a historical landmark building that they somehow have gotten the rights to knock down.
No,
I know it. It's
such a great room.
It's a beautiful room. They're going to tear it down and build condos. And so
wait, so the club is moving?
Yeah, so the club is moving and they have a new space,
Fuck.
and it's going to be in some mall or something, but it's going to be, they're going to set it
Ooh.
up like a helium, so they will recreate a great, I mean, the helium model is a good looking club because it's based on Acme's model.
I wouldn't know, but go
Well,
ahead.
you've
Talk
been to
about it.
Acme, right?
I have been, yes. And I will be
So
next week,
that's
by the
right,
way.
by the way.
Yes.
And but when Mark Grossman started making heliums, he paid Louis Lee to come and tell him how to build a comedy club.
Oh, wow.
And that's why all the heliums are laid out correctly.
Maybe he could ask Louis how to book a comedy club.
He did initially, and hence I got to do Philadelphia one time 15 years ago.
Right.
And never again. And but
right.
I do sometimes because of my agent. He's in with those guys, and so when they have fallouts,
Yeah.
I will sometimes get last minute replacement weeks.
And that's great. But here's the thing with fallouts is you don't have enough time to promote. Like you need a lot of time to promote a gig. The club needs a lot of time to promote. And then you get a fallout week and it's like, oh, well, she didn't have many people here. Yeah, no one knew. No one knew I was here. So yeah, I wasn't able to fill the room like someone who had 2 months worth of advertising.
We brought her. We gave her a shot.
Yes. We booked her day of and she didn't fill the room.
She couldn't for some reason. It didn't work out. But so but the staff is so nice at this club, and the managers are really nice and the staff seems happy. It's my favorite thing is when you show up at a comedy club and the staff seems happy. And and so and everyone here is wearing masks, which I love.
That's good.
And
it's pretty masked here.
Yeah, the mayor.
I guess Raleigh's it's a research. It literally is like a research and development university town. So they're probably all. You're probably scientists. Entertaining just virologists in the audience. That's cool.
And it's Maria's audience, right? So they're amazing. Right. They're already smart and in touch with their feels. They're great. So so the shows are good. Second show last night, everybody was very quiet. You saw in the thread, they were a quiet bunch.
Yeah.
They had a really good time.
You guys had texted the female comics thread too for emotional support. Every once in a while you have a show where you have to talk to other comics or you're going to jump off the bridge. Yeah.
Right. Because you're like, I swear I destroyed with this very same material one show ago, and yet
show earlier.
Yeah. And now they're staring at me, and I think they were just tired, and afterwards they were all very, very excited. Like first show she got a standing ovation. Yeah.
Wow. And then so they lackluster response on the second show, but at the end of the show they were happy.
They were happy as they filed out and bought merch from me. But first show it was a great crowd. They laughed, and then they gave Maria a standing ovation.
Nice.
And then they filed by me and bought all my merch. And then they left. And so good things are happening. And then and so then this week I'm going. I'm sure it'll be fun once I get there. But I get home on Sunday. I leave on Tuesday and come back on Thursday. I'm doing one show in Florida.
Wow.
With Brian Regan. So I am flying to essentially Fort Lauderdale on Tuesday. Wednesday night, I opened for Brian Regan as a benefit for his old high school. And
that's a lot of travel for one show. But I'm assuming you're being compensated by Brian Regan.
I'm being fairly compensated by Brian Regan, who fairly compensates his openers. And
his idea of fairly compensate is very high. That's nice.
Right. It is. And well, it ought to be. I mean, that's why the Spotify thing is so important, because it is
Spotify. Let's explain it. And Jessica Michelle Singleton. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's good money.
And that's per show.
Oh, and how many shows?
Just one, but sometimes there's two.
Oh, that's nice. She had a good thread too, which is something I hadn't really thought of. Well, Spoken Giants is a group that it's part of the guys that run 800 Pound Gorilla who did our albums, and also a record executive lawyer or former record executive, which of course should make everyone's hair stand on end. But their songs are paid out in two ways. The people who perform the song get a royalty, and the songwriter gets a royalty. So, like in "I Will Always Love You," the Whitney Houston version, Whitney's estate gets the Whitney money, and then Dolly Parton gets a shitload of money for writing the song. And Dolly Parton is like a billionaire because of a lot of songwriting rights, right? So with stand-up, they just pay us the performance thing, and we don't get paid for the written part, for the songwriting, for the comedy writing, and that's never existed before. And so Spoken Giants is saying that money, that half of that money is available, but it's being kept by Spotify and whoever is streaming the thing, and it should belong to comedians. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a way to get it, and we're going to hire lawyers and claw through documents. And if you sign up with us, X% of that songwriting money, the comedy writing money, goes to Spoken Giants for a certain amount of time. I signed up because I was like, no one else is. It's, as far as I know, it's free money for me because no one else is looking for it, and I'm not going to spend time trying to find it. So
there's no reason not to sign up for it. I mean, there were people who were mad about it. They're like, well, why does Spoken Giants have to take? Well, because they're the ones doing the legwork. And it may not be forever. And the thing is this money for music, this has existed the entire time. And so they pay for songs so much more than they pay for comedy. And we would just like our fare, the same amount of money.
People are listening as much. Yeah, right. Yeah. And I can see the comics who didn't sign up with Spoken Giants are paying the penalty of having their music taken down from Spotify and going, well, what the fuck? That's not fair.
Wait. The thing is they didn't. Runtowski's is still up there, and Mary Max is still up there. No, they haven't done every comic, but they've taken down, I believe, everybody who signed the thing to Spoken Giants. No,
not you and me. I think we're still on there.
No, they took mine down. Mine's gone.
Last I checked, but we'll see. But I think they've also taken comics who aren't on Spoken Giants as well.
Okay, they just sort of did a random kind of pick. I don't know that, but okay, I did not know that.
Anyway, so that's what the thing is. Now, Spotify, I barely get any, none of my, almost such a low percentage of my my Sound Exchange money is from streaming services.
It's a 4 cents a spin.
What a joke.
So if you listen to it 33,000 times, yes. And I have 5 albums, so I might make $60 a month, $40 a month from Spotify, 33. I mean, I once looked at it to figure out what the breakdown was, but Pandora pays better. SiriusXM pays much better. Amazon Music pays better. Whatever.
I don't understand why Spotify, they have commercials. So just like Sirius, I mean, it's something that people are paying for, but why do they get it cheaper? Why has Sirius agreed to pay so much more than Spotify has? Why wouldn't Sirius go, well, we'll just pay 4 cents instead of $25?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
What? And see, are you sure it's 4 cents? I thought it was like fractions of a penny per track.
Possibly. I thought it was 4 cents, but I easily could be wrong. But I thought it was
4 cents per like
spin
bit that they play.
Yeah, per bit that they play, per track. And I know that because remember when SiriusXM changed their policy of how long a track had to be stand-up wise, because labels were gaming the system with Sirius because they were paying $15 for the publisher, $15 for the comic, right? So people were cutting their albums up into less than 1 minute chunks, so that there were 32 tracks per album. And so
can you pause for just 1 second while I negotiate a play date for my 15-year-old son?
Well, no, I'll finish saying what I'm saying, but you talk to Amy Miller. And but the the thing is that with Sirius XM, they have a new policy where everything has to be over 3 minutes. They're not going to play any bits that aren't under 3 minutes because of people gaming the system and cutting their albums up into into 61-minute chunks so that they could make more money. And I don't know why that worked too. I mean, there's so many different moving parts to the industry that we're in, and if you self-publish, like Spotify took down Circus People, and Circus People is an album that I put out through CD Baby in 2000. That is ostensibly my first album. I had an album before that, but I burned it myself on my CD. Good luck finding Cake Is Not My Downfall. Someone actually sent me a picture. They found it in Nebraska in a used bin. They bought it. It was gone. It was the CD had disintegrated, so the files were gone.
Jackie, guess you can bring back 50 minutes of material that people have never heard.
I actually, the Cake Is Not My Downfall is actually, I re-recorded a bunch of that stuff on my second album, the Bread album. So, so a lot of that stuff, but some of it isn't. Like, if you could find Circus People, there's a couple of weirdo jokes on that aren't on any other album. So, and there's also the misprint of Bread that I'm giving away as coasters, because I printed 1,000 without the title track. And instead of the title track, it was a different joke that is on nothing else either. But that is also a crazy ass collector's item that you could use as a coaster, because my sister found hundreds of them in her garage. Anyway,
I think you're doing the old Mitch Hedberg, here, you throw this away. But
yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah. And, so I don't know, like, I mean, if it's 4 cents a spin, then you know what, we'll see. I'm just hoping for a big payout when I get my next sound exchange. You know, but you know,
you got November, and it wasn't. Was there any noticeable difference from?
No, because no,
your album came out in late October, right?
October 26th. Yeah. So I don't think it I don't know when it included
so
it.
This month or January should reflect something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like before, you know, I just never put out albums because I was like, you have to be asked. And I don't know. I just was, I followed these rules that were set a long time ago that I made up in my head also, and it was like, well, I must be not good enough if they haven't asked me.
People set them, you know. I mean, we've all fallen for stuff like that. I never asked to do another half-hour special because they asked me the first time, and I thought you had to be asked to do it again when other people just submitted, right? And then they got to do half-hour specials. But I heard, and this was a month and a half ago, someone asked Jay Leno at Flappers why he didn't have any albums, and he said out loud, well, I don't want to burn the material.
Oh my God.
Which is something we were taught, right?
It is, but
it is no longer true, right?
Well, I mean, you know, yeah, I understand that. It's funny that he said that too.
Right. It's the same. It's the same. He is incorrect. But it's the same thing that we were all raised with, right? That's what he was taught, and it's still in his head.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. I guess it's the notion that you would never get sick of your material.
Right. And I just looked at him. I was like, I don't know how to. I mean, there's no way to explain to Jay Leno that comedy has changed. You know, I mean, I don't know that I don't know him well enough to think that he would hear me. Or anything.
Well, I mean, I think his best stuff was on Letterman, and you can see it on YouTube, right? You can see, like, he's a different case because he stopped being a traditional road comic and, you know, started being the host of the Tonight Show. But yeah,
nobody did more stand-up than he did every Sunday at Comedy and Magic, and corporates at least 300 a year. 200 or 300 a year, someone was telling me. So he was constantly doing stand-up and writing material, but he had that staff, and he turned into a different comic, obviously, because of the Tonight Show.
Oh yeah.
for sure. Because his stuff in the 80s was actually really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And
when he and Letterman were just like competing in a way that they really made each other better, you know? And then things went.
I never saw that, but that's cool. Because
Well,
I know
mean,
that
when
he was on
appear-
Letterman a lot, right?
That's what I mean. Yeah, that he and Letterman were comics together in LA, and then Letterman got the late night and or started late night. Sorry, and so he and Leno were. It was still sort of a competition whenever, you know, in a way. But I've been doing material that I did on the Late Late Show, and just going, do people know this joke? And you know, just like, ooh, but people seem to be, if they know it, they're still laughing at it. So
that's great.
Good.
I did Thursday night. I was doing some stuff, and some people over on the side had clearly watched Staycation. Because there was a lot that was smiling and nodding. And I was like, a little more in the dark.
Oh.
Just a little more further in the dark.
Just sit in the back, please.
Because they laughed, but they were also like, oh, that's this one. And I was like, son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
And but I have, you know, Maria and I have been doing a little writing, so that's cool. And
great.
Little joke machines. So she's got a new bit that's cracking me up that she's sort of weaved into her new closer. And she was helping me with I think it's I didn't get to do it second show, because second show I was like, first of all, first show went really well. It's ideal first show if you're opening, right? Like I am doing for Maria Bamford, to keep it tight. And I went over probably 5 minutes last night, which is a lot in a 25-minute set. And I mean, it wasn't 35, but I probably did. I did 30, and that's not her ideal. That she likes me to do 25. And so second show, I was looking at my set list, trying to, you know, tighten it up and make sure that I did my time. And, you know, like Rocky Balboa offered to Apollo Creed in the first Rocky movie. Anyway, I just want to be a good spar. So
sure. You know what I like about, so there's two things about this club at the Comedy Fort is they have a countdown clock, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting because it reminds me, like with swimming, you know, my event was 200 breaststroke, and it's basically broken into 450s, right? And you take your splits. And so I'm always like, I've been checking my splits on bits to see like, oh, is that one's still taken like from 0 to this bit, from the start, from the end of this one. That's 11 minutes. That was 11 minutes on the first show. Yeah, and then that was 11, because you could see it it's in the back of the room. It's like it's telling you when you get to 45, jump off, right?
Yeah.
So it's sort of interesting to go to just check and see how long it's and if it's consistently taken this amount of time. I do enjoy that, and I wish more clubs had that. And then they also do this thing where the audience, he explained it to me, but I forget it, that they have a QR code. So there's no check drop. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they just log in, and they start a tab when they enter the club. And then if they want a new drink, they just click on their phones very quickly, and a new drink is brought to them, and it goes through the whole show. So there's no check drop whatsoever, which is nice.
And there's no whisper by the staff.
Right.
Would you like something else? Was there anything you would like? I'm going to bring the last call.
Last call. Do you know how many times I've had bits interrupted by the helicopter whisper of last call, to the point where I'm just like, hey, fuckers, it's last call. Okay, so no one has to announce it anymore, okay? I'll announce it.
Yeah, know in your hearts.
So that's nice.
Yeah, that is nice. I like that. Hey, let's take a break.
Okay. Oh.
And see how that looks. So also, let's do Comic of the Week.
Yes. Comic of the Week is Abby Govindan. Govindan. And her Twitter is Abby Gov, as in Governor, ABBYGOV.
Right. And you sent me a clip, and she was hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So where's she out of?
I don't know. Maybe
She might
New
be New
York, I
York.
think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I follow her on Twitter and she's really funny. And then I'm like, wait, we've never done her. And she's opening for, she's like opening for a couple big comics on tour. So she's
Okay.
out there killing it. And she has this really funny bit on Twitter about emailing the KKK, which, I mean, on YouTube, which you should find and watch. It's really good.
It's really good. So Abby Govindan, is that what it was? But it's
yeah, Govindan. Yes, I think.
But it's
her,
Abby Gov on Twitter. See, G-O-V.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can't go wrong.
And it'll be in the link. So that's the good news.
Yes.
Yeah. So this week, here's the thing. So I got a call, speaking of last minute replacements, they had a cancellation at Comedy Works South. And they're like, hey, can you go to Comedy Works Wednesday through Saturday of this week, this week? And I was like, I could fly from Florida to Denver and do the Thursday through Saturday. Or the more sane thing to do would be to find another comic who can do Wednesday through Saturday. And then don't forget to book me. And
yes.
And so I was like, no, of course I'll do it. And I was talking to Andy and I was like, and if I get this gig, you will get that $100 eBay Hot Wheel that you really want. And he was like, wait, because he gave me his Christmas list. And one of the Hot Wheels is so rare that I had to look for it on eBay and it's $78.
Jackie, that's just what we were talking about. He probably doesn't even like Hot Wheels, but he's like, this gives my wife something to work for.
Oh no, he's given me a list of very specific. And by the way, Scott Rogers, today, this very morning, I went to the Raleigh, North Carolina Walmart and Target to see if they had the character Hot Wheels that he wanted, and his buddy Scott Rogers. I was like, hey, I'm in this places. Aren't you looking for a specific Batman or Star Wars action figure? And he was like, here are the pictures of them. And so I've been looking for those too, because as long as I'm in some,
Jackie, you have a free road day and you go inside a Walmart. That is horrific. You know what I did? I went into 2 coffee houses. I went into one coffee house. I stayed as long as I could ethically, taking up a seat. And then I packed my things and went to another coffee house.
There you go.
I was like, let me just, get a latte from this place and take up space here.
Right.
And I worked on
second
bits.
latte. Yeah, that's good though.
Well, I kind of wanted to switch it up. I wanted to get out and walk around, and I did buy some earrings at one of these little stores. I had to. It's mandated when you enter Fort Collins. You need to buy something from one of these little
sort of
lady-owned stores. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. It's and an update is Alameda Comedy Club guy is going to pay my bill. I don't know if I updated you last week or not.
I think you did.
But I think like 2 weeks ago, I was like, I haven't heard back from him and I don't know what's going to happen. And then I heard back from him and it looks like it's all going to work out. So I didn't want anyone to think that he wasn't a good guy after volunteering to pay for the hospital thing. So,
well, I am glad. I'm so glad. That's great.
Who doesn't love some closure?
Who doesn't love good guys with closure? Exactly.
And I went to a coffee shop. So there's a thing called the Global Village Fair Trade, whatever, organic coffee shop. That's about, I don't know, 4 or 5 blocks from here. And that's where Maria and I hung out and had coffees and did some writing.
Did your thing?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was yesterday. And that was super fun. And then tomorrow, unfortunately, the flight is again super early. I don't remember why. I never remember why. I think it was because I did Lowell. I don't think did I talk to you yet? But since I did Lowell, the Grove?
No.
Super fun.
I don't know.
I think it must have been the day up that I was doing the club. When we recorded, and then we went into the woods. We went into the woods in Hot Springs.
Oh yeah, you were offline for 2 days.
Yeah, 2 or 3 days, where AT&T doesn't get any reception, and Andy's dad's wife does not have Wi-Fi, But so there was no, like, we would drive into Mount Ida or Hot Springs, and there would be a cascade of emails and horrible news and all these things. Then we'd go back into the woods, and they Andy went ATV riding with his stepbrother.
Oh, that's fun.
Wife. Yeah. And there was a lot of day drinking that I did not take part in. And
boo! I mean, I guess it's good that you didn't.
Right, everyone would be sad.
Sorry.
So and yeah.
That's cool. I just I didn't get COVID in Austin. I took
Oh, that's right. How was Austin?
I'm gonna just be taking PCR tests after every gig.
Are those the disposable ones, or
no. Well, I have those at home too.
Okay.
But also at Burbank Airport, as soon as you leave the airport, right across the street from the airport, there's a place where you can get a PCR test, which is like the official one. It takes about 24 hours for it to come back to you, but it will, say not detected or detected or whatever, which technically you don't have to take unless you have symptoms, you feel symptoms, but why not? I'm coming home. Why not just swing by, get something shoved up my nose, and then at least know that I'm safe to travel the next time, or I'm not bringing anything back to my kid,
I took one for Never Not Funny, and it turns out, unless it was, a false negative, I didn't have it.
They say that there are more false positives with the home test, but with the PCR test, it's pretty accurate. So Austin was really fun. It's not like a great merch town.
Yeah.
But it's a really fun gig, and the room at the Creek and Cave, it's a great room, and it has a cool vibe, and there's like a patio area where they're all doing other shows, so it feels it feels like comics live there,
yeah
and it's a lot of fun. So I had a really good time, and then I took the PCR. I'm good. I was like, that was the only state I was really worried about, because they don't have any kind of vaccine mandate. It's illegal to have a vaccine mandate there. So like here at this club, you have to show a vaccine card. I think at the rest of the clubs I have coming through for the rest of the year, there are mandates to get into the club. So, I mean, I'm boosted, and, I feel like I've done as much as I can in terms of.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But in Arkansas, no one was wearing masks. And by like the third day, I forgot to wear a mask. Because I too.
Oh, when you were just out and about?
Yeah. Turns out I too am a sheeple, where I'm just like, oh, nobody else is wearing a mask. I guess I'm not going to wear a mask. And you're like, what are you doing? And I'm boosted and vaxxed and all the things. And I'm not standing next to each other. A lot of people real close. And every time, it's so funny though, I did skip a couple of elevator rides in Lowell. And and we went to the Crystal Bridges Museum again, and it was gorgeous. And I went again. They had never been. So but it was amazing. And then but so like every time I get in an elevator with more than one other person, I'm just like, oh, it's 2019 again. Look at us all in an elevator together. And I don't like it.
It was weird. At the hotel, it was spotty, whether people were wearing masks or not. And then I always wore a mask in the hotel. But it's weird, like for some reason in a comedy club, since I'm going to be taking it off to perform, and like I'm backstage in the green room, with the other comics, it just seems silly to have it on, even though I'm like, technically it's not silly.
Right. There's no silliness, but it feels silly. Yeah,
I know. But every place else, every store I walk into, every place else, I have it on completely. I have it on until I get my coffee at the coffee house, and I take it off, and I put it back on as soon as I'm done. I don't know, for some reason
when I'm seated, for some reason I take it off. Yeah. For some reason I sit down at a restaurant, I take it off, and I'm like, oh, I'm clearly perfectly safe at this two-top. It's very dumb. It's very dumb.
It is dumb. I mean, it is dumb, but it's even dumber if you're unvaccinated. It's less
my
dumb
God.
if you're triple vaccinated.
True that. So you're off to Acme.
Yes,
And
but
then yeah. Go ahead.
before, I just wanted to remind people, because you and I both have albums out now. If you guys have bought an album or downloaded or whatever, and you're able to give us a great review, like 5 stars, that would be amazing. That really helps. I mean, when
On
people are
Apple
looking
Music.
at comedy albums, they're like, 5 stars, 1 review. Oh, sounds like she reviewed her own album, right? But if there's 25 stars, it's like, oh, maybe this is worth my time. So
Yeah,
if you guys could go
I've never been
and
able
review
to
both Jackie and I's albums on whatever device you or whatever app you use to listen to it or download it, we would really appreciate that. I don't know how else to tell you that, but that helps us a lot.
Yeah. Interesting. And have you looked at the list, like where we are?
Well, I'm off the list.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to find the list.
Last I looked on Pop Vortex, I was off completely.
Okay.
But I mean, I had a good run. And again, I don't know what puts you on the list, if it's 15 downloads or not, because you jump so quickly up and down on that thing that it's hard to kind of tell. But well,
yeah.
Whatever. I hope I'm still on the Amazon list. I was like in the top 20 on the Amazon list. But
okay. Yeah.
I think your TikTok really is helping you a lot too, right? Because the rapture bit went so crazy that must be keeping your name in there. That's great.
Okay, I just looked it up. I'm still on number 6.
That's amazing. That's
on
amazing.
Apple Music. So that's something, or
Awesome.
Apple, whatever.
Yeah.
And that it feels amazing. And I am cutting up it's interesting, the jokes that I'm not doing from staycation right now. Because I was trying to work on the rest. I was trying to work on bits that are on the album, but I've got new angles on them. And I got a new batch of clips to put up on TikTok and stuff. And it turns out that the people picking those bits kind of like the more cheerful stuff, like about dogs and empaths. And so maybe I'll try and do that set tonight, and so many people are like, the best bit on your album is, are you getting that? I'm just like, and they're diametrically opposed. Like, it's like some dude who loves all the dad stuff, and it's somebody who loves all of the dog stuff, right? So it's weird.
Yeah. I'm getting that from my Corden set, where it's the joke where I'm like, that one? Oh, I guess so.
Good. I'm like, good for you.
I worked on the Anne Frank joke for 3 years, but okay, the one that dropped in my lap. Okay, yeah, that's the best one. Whatever.
Oh my God.
You know what? You can't argue with what people like, as long as they like something.
Yeah, I'm glad they like something. That's the good news. And so this week, I'm just going to go do the show outside of Fort Lauderdale with Brian Regan. And then the following week, when you're in Madison doing comedy on stage, I'm going to be in Milwaukee doing Laughing Tap.
Same time zone.
Right. If you wanna, I pick you up. You can go to lunch with my family at Irv's Mug, where Santa threw up. I wanted to go there for dinner, and my brother's like, it's too small and too noisy. Let's go to the Wisconsin Club. And I was like, that sounds expensive. Did Santa throw up in the Wisconsin Club? And my sister-in-law was like, it's super Christmassy. And I'm like, all right, I want it to be Christmassy. I need it this year to be Christmassy. Desperado. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to distract ourselves. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And I have I don't know what else I have to promote. We gotta get better promoting our shit on this podcast. People dropping in. I hope everyone has downloaded or streamed our albums by now. I mean, if you haven't and you're a listener, I don't have to tell you. I'm very upset with you.
Right. I don't know what I did have a guy, a very nice guy, and I don't blame him. He was like, I want to watch your special, but I hate ads. Can I just buy the DVD, or is there a way to buy it? And I was like, not to my knowledge. I did order DVDs, but they haven't come yet. And I said, I know that it's hard to watch with ads. I don't like ads either, but it is literally the only way I'm getting to recoup the cost of me filming the thing right now.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, if you could suck it up and just think, oh, well, Jackie's going to make a couple of bucks then, and because otherwise it is free. It's free on YouTube, Staycation. Oh, and I was trying to think of other albums. I'm thinking about doing all my albums will just have a play on my name now.
Have a what?
Have play on my name for the rest of my career.
Sure.
And I'm gonna do a best of all my dick jokes and call it fornication.
Jackie of all trades. Jackie of all trades. Yes.
Jackie of all trades. It's gonna be because it was gonna be called altercation, and then it could be called obfuscation. I forget how to pronounce the word.
Not Kim Kardashian.
Jackie. No, at least twice a week, somebody makes a Kim Kardashian joke at me. Don't go there. Don't hack out on me. Don't do it.
Well, I've known you for 6 years. I've never done it. And you fucking forced me into it by doing plays on your last name. All right. This wasn't my choice. I was backed into a corner. And
Kardashian
you made me
doesn't
do it.
Right. Keep riffing. And so what time's your first show tonight? Oh, go ahead.
7 o'clock.
Nice.
So Amazon is like, we're trying to 45 jokes about my dead dad, which is my special. The special's a little different from the album because it includes what everyone wants in a comedy special, hospice footage. And also commentary from Conan O'Brien, Patton Oswalt, and Andy Kindler. Okay, so it's got famous people in it, and me and my dying dad. And Amazon is declined to put it on Amazon Prime because they're like, I don't know, there's something about comedy and documentaries and they're tired of it or something. But I'm like, what? I can't, I tell you the amount of shit you have on your fucking app, but okay. But it's like, so now we're trying to, I don't know, I just feel like, can we just fucking put it on YouTube and be over with it? I mean, Shane Gillis just put his thing on YouTube. You just put your thing on YouTube. Those are brand new from like well-known comics. And this is, 5 years old, and I don't think we're going to sell it. So let's just throw it up so someone can fucking watch it, Well,
800-pound Gorilla said that they want to do Horcrux and put it up on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
So you could have 800-pound Gorilla would love to split the ad revenue for 445 jokes.
No, but I mean, because my production, the people that produced it, there's an 800-pound gorilla of people who produced it that are going to take half of it. It's really frustrating. Like CISO, lost the rights a couple years ago, and it still isn't available. We still can't put it on, and I don't know. I'm incredibly frustrated. I just would like it up.
Right. And so it's nowhere right now. Right. And somebody else still has control of it for some reason because of the deal. Yes. Okay. That does fucking blow. I am so sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
I've been talking with those guys about sort of re-recording best of or taking stuff, because I own the rights to all of my masters. They could just take it and see if they can volume level it. I don't know. And but I'm not going to sweat it. I'm just tired right now because I feel like Staycation came out and I kept going on the road. And now I'm like, why am I on the road so much? Because right now it's holidays, so I'm just going to visit a lot of family and stuff. So.
Well, and also, I mean, we don't know what's coming down the pike lockdown wise either. I mean, if this other variant starts to
mutate or something.
We don't know. I feel like, let me just get these dates in before the end of December. So I got a lot of cool road gigs. Please just let me finish them before Omicron takes hold of America. Please.
And hey, we should probably take another break, which I
Okay.
think, and all right. So I think we only have about 5 more minutes left. I don't know how long we've been talking. I have some vague idea. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I
Well-
found a great book that I bought for Maria Bamford on Amazon that is about, she's going to love it. And she doesn't
Yeah.
listen to this show. So let me tell you what I've ordered. And it is a book about the history of women's finances. And
interesting.
it's how traditionally women have made money, not made money, but sort of figured out, what the hell is it? Oh, here it is. Sorry for the delay while I find this, book.
Women and comics need to be smart about money. It's
Right.
really hard if you're a comic because you're constantly you just don't think that way. And usually the comics that do think that way aren't that funny. So it's
like
hard
a second or third
funny.
job.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a second or it's
yes.
There's so many jobs. So this book is called Women Writing About Money, Women's Fiction in England, 1790 to 1820. Essentially, it's kind of about Jane Austen and how she was broke her entire life because she was first published when she was 30. And then she was always unmarried. So she had to go from cousins to people, and she had nowhere to live. She had to go, she had to count on like the generosity of other,
the kindness of strangers,
of her extended family. So this is part of a series, Studies in Romanticism, series number 9. But I love the idea. There's this book, and there was another book that is out of print and was kind of a fortune to get it used. But it was about, it's more about, it's women in Western Europe trying to get money rights. So it was kind of fascinating, and it's nonfiction. And I know that she likes nonfiction. Nice. She also likes sad sack fiction, much like yourself. What are you reading?
I'm reading Bel Canto by Anne Patchett.
Oh yeah.
It's taken me a while to read. I finished that book I hated, and now this one, and I'm like, is my attention span declining again, or is it this book that it's just hard to jump in and out of? I'm not really sure, but I will finish it because it is good. It's a good story. I forgot to tell you, last week at the Creek and Cave, Kathy Valentine came to my show. She is the bass player for the Go-Go's.
Oh, wow.
That's neat. I got a picture with her, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. The Go-Go's are playing in LA. She's like, you got to come. And I'm out of town that date. I'm on the East Coast. It's like on the 29th of December. But I was like, holy fuck, my teenage self would be aghast. Like, I wouldn't believe that this is happening to me.
Right, that she saw you and
she's
like
badass.
Oh yeah, that's so cool.
And so I got her memoir. It's coming, and then I'll post a picture of it to promote it, I guess. And she didn't ask me to. I'm just like, I got to read your book, because I was selling books afterwards. I felt like an asshole. And Lauren Huff, who also wrote this great book called it's got the word leave in it. It's like a memoir of essays, and she came to the show too. I had like a great female authors week at my week at
your weekend at Creek and Cave.
Yeah,
that is exceptional. I think it was Brian Mallow, a comic from San Francisco.
Yes,
he came
I know
down.
Mallow, the science comic.
Yes, indeed, he came down last night. Says hi. And,
is he living there now in Raleigh?
Yep. I said something like, I watched your set and I had a couple of notes, but I've forgotten them.
That's classic Mallow. That's great. That's hilarious.
Right.
Really
I didn't
funny.
say anything. Well, I'm sure he is. He looks funny. You know when you meet somebody and you're just like, oh, I bet she's a good comic. I met him and I thought, I bet she's a good comic. So
he's very smart, and dumb audiences resent that. Because I worked with him once in Tucson with some really dumb crowds, and he had really smart material, and he just wouldn't dick it up, and they were, it's Tucson, right?
right. Oh yeah,
Great.
that's on him. He should have really gotten, because you got to play the room. You play the room you're dealt. And
well, yes, or you go, this is the way I'm going to do comedy, and then I work different kind of shows.
Which he does.
I create the shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
now he's
there's
doing
two ways
science
to
stuff,
do it.
and he's hosting panels, and
That's great.
he's doing a lot of stuff. Yeah, he's wildly successful. It's all working out for him.
I like sort of the challenge of making people laugh, right? Like everybody across the board. And so I'm like, oh, all right. It's depressing to sometimes.
It's the only thing we have in common, Laurie Kilmartin, is the fact that we're both like, oh, I'm gonna make these assholes laugh, and
it's almost like revenge. Like you think I can't make you laugh, you fucking dumb fucking hick piece of shit. I'll get you.
I'll get you.
Dick jokes. I got it.
Yeah, you get cable. You're gonna get this joke that's smarter than you even and you're gonna laugh at it, and then you're gonna come up to me afterwards going, well, I didn't know what it was gonna be like, but then I liked you, and you're like, yeah, North Dakota, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, Minot.
I'm laughing at you laughing at me because I won.
Yeah, Bismarck, I'm looking at you, Bismarck, Nebraska. Is it Nebraska? I think it's also North
South Dakota. South Dakota.
Whatever.
Yes.
But it was Rapid City, doesn't matter. There were a lot of Dakotas, there was a lot of Nebraska that I was just like, no, we're doing this. And I took it as a challenge.
Me too.
Yeah. So,
but then also, like, that's a road challenge. But also, then for me, when I moved to New York City, that was a completely different challenge. Like, wait, it's like the whole audience lives in the same apartment building, but they've never met each other. Like, we all, okay, this is very different. All right.
I think the first time I did New York, I did driving material, and I was like, what are you doing?
I know.
There's nobody with a car within 300 feet of where you are. Yeah.
Going from and Walmart jokes, going from this like entertaining suburban audience and then going to an urban center. Oh my God. It's like, you got to change everything. Right, but I like being able, it's like being bilingual, comedically bilingual in a way. Right. Which I like. There is something
and there's part of me that knows that it's dumb to be proud of this, but it's like, she can play any room. And you're like, yeah, but why should I have to? That's
exactly.
The real.
That too. Both things are true.
Too funny.
I was reading this article on long COVID in the New York Times. That's what the other things I was in this coffee house this morning, and I'm like, this is like the 90s. Like, I'm just having coffee. No one wants anything from me. I have the whole day to myself, except for I have to do this fucking podcast. And and someone left a physical New York Times on a counter. And I was like, what is this? It's so much thinner than it used to be. But I was reading this article about a woman who had long COVID. And she has brain fog, and she has to write down the steps of having to brush her teeth. And it just made me realize, like, how much we do on stage, right? We're always thinking ahead. We're always tinkering. We're always like, oh, I'm not going to do this joke. I'll do this one. We have to always be thinking ahead. And if you lose that ability, it's I don't know. We're always in danger of losing that ability, right? And as we get older, we're become more susceptible to strokes and all that kind of stuff. Like what I love, I still love about stand-up is that I can still do it well. If the audience interrupts me, I'll go with that, and that might be the funniest part of the show. And I always think, well, at one point in my life, I won't be able to do this. Like I won't physically be able to do everything I need. My brain needs to be able to do to entertain all these people. And so hopefully I'm just gathering great memories so that I can at least remember that I used to be really good.
and it might, and the thing is the set might have to change, like it had, from the kind of stand-up I did when I was 19 to 25, right? Is very different than the stand-up I did in my 30s and the stand-up I'm doing today. And if it comes to it, I may have to sit there and essentially just kind of meander around a little bit and then get to the punchline. Because right now I meander very quickly to the punchline. I'm on 3 tasks getting to all the punchlines, but I'm doing it much faster. If my brain slows down, I don't know how to stop doing stand-up, right? I mean, I kind of want to read the Mel Brooks memoir.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yes.
And I haven't wanted to read a memoir ever. I finished The Splendid and the Vile, the Winston Churchill, and it was kind of a memoir, except for that it took from the people around him, not him, and it was great. But and I do like it. I mean, David Sedaris, those stories are essentially memoirs, right? They're essays.
Well, but he even admitted they're not true, which is why, that's why I want to read them. I don't want to hear what happened to you. I want to hear your comedic impression of what happened to you. That's the skill. Okay. Good.
Yes. I think we're at an hour, by the way.
For sure.